Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a pleasant greetings to each and everyone. This is for the course subject CPE106, Assessment in Student Learning 2. I am Sittie-Asia U Macarimbor, and my group members are Gomosung Abdulwahid, Pandapatan, Jadida, and Abdul, Hanna, Sofia, the group 3. For this video, we are going to explore in various assessment activity. We are to tackle 4 different assessments. We have activity 3.4, crafting meaningful performance-based assessment, or the PBA. Activity number 4.1, the rating scale. 4.2, the Likert scale. And 4.3, the Semantic Differential scale. Okay. Now, let us begin with activity 3.4, crafting a meaningful performance-based assessment. Before anything else, performance-based assessment are an objective way to monitor learners' level of understanding. And as we all know, assessment takes an integral part of the learning journey of the learners. And so there are ways for teachers to measure students' ability to apply their knowledge in real world instead of solely testing knowledge acquisition. So please refer to the screen. Since we are to craft a performance-based assessment, this is an example. We have the step 1, defining the purpose of assessment. Why are we making the performance-based assessment? First is to identify your general competency and your specific competencies. Now, for our example here, the general competency is to demonstrate proficiency in creative writing and storytelling. And the specific competency is the student should demonstrate mastery in plot development, setting, description, characterization, and theme exploration. Because in step 2, identifying performance task, what specific performance task that you are going to use, you're going to ask your student to make. So for this example, the students are required to create a narrative short story that demonstrate their storytelling skills and ability to engage readers through effective use of these elements, the 4 mentioned earlier. Now in step 3, as you can see, this is the scoring scheme, which is, let's say here, the title of the performance task that you are to ask for your students is to write a short story. And then the task description is, students are tasked to write their own short story showcasing their proficiency in plot development, setting, description, characterization, and scheme exploration. And as you can see here, the table provided is the scoring system, the criteria for judging. Now, there are 5 scores. We have here the exceptional and its description, which is 5 for exceptional, 4 for very good and its description provided in the screen, 3 for good and its description, 2 for poor, and obviously 1 for very poor performance. Now in the last column is the score. How is the performance of the learners? And the skill dimension, these are the category that you are to focus in judging the performance of your learners. We have here plot development. That is one of the specific competency that we are to look for. Plot development, setting, description, characterization, and scheme exploration. Those are the factors that should be incorporated in writing a short story, the performance-based assessment. And so by performing a student-based assessment, the students must be assessed fairly and according to their interest and learning needs. Designing and implementing performance-based assessment requires careful planning to truly evaluate the learner's ability and the skills. So as you can see, it is not really biased because everything, the score provided in the screen, are all followed by the description that is really expected in your performance. So that is performance-based assessment. And for our next activity, we have the activity 4.1 rating scale. when we say rating scale class, it is a close-ended survey question used to represent respondents' feedback in a comparative form for specific particular features, product, or services. Or let's say a attitude towards something, your perspective towards something. It is one of the most established question types for online and offline surveys. Yes, we are very familiar in rating scale. Later on, I'm going to show you an examples. Now, it is one of the most established question types for online and offline surveys where survey respondents are expected to rate an attribute or features. So, this is an example of a rating scale. The intended outcome here is to develop a rating scale for assessing affective learning domain. Now, as you can see here in the indication, all information provided here are based on affective learning domain. We are to use a scale number, let's say 1 to 5, 1 being the highest, 5 being the lowest, or it could also be 1 to 10, 1 being the highest, 10 being the lowest. So it will always depend on the teacher and how she or he will going to put or provide the scales interpretation. So there's always a rating scale interpretation. 1 for strongly disagree, 2 for disagree, 3 for neither agree nor disagree, it is the neutral, and then 4 for agree, and 5 for strongly agree. So in this scale, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. Now here, for example, the indications, I am happy during assessment of learning subject. Now if I'm the student, the respondent, then if I am really enjoyed and I really grasp the knowledge that I should learn from the topic from assessment of learning subject, I would say it's I strongly agree to this paragraph or to this indicators. I would write 5, and then vice versa to the following questions or following phrases. That is rating scale. Rating scale questions are easy to really understand and implement. Using graphic rating scales to create survey as they consumes the least time to configure something or indicators. Now, in the next activity, we have here the activity 4.2, the Likert scale. I know some of you, if you have already done through research, you are really familiar with Likert scale. Likert scale or rating system is a measurement method used in research to evaluate attitude, opinion, and perception. So how it is different to rating scale. So sa rating scale, we are going to use 1 to 5. So we really based on the rate, what particular rate you're going to give in the feature or attribute. Now in Likert scale, questions are highly adaptable and can be used across a range of topics from customer satisfaction surveys to employment engagement survey to market research. So it is applicable in many ways. So as you can see here in the screen, for each question or statement, subject choose from range of answer option. For example, as A for strongly agree, A for agree, N for neutral or ND neither agree or neither disagree, D for disagree, and SD for strongly disagree. The same thing, let's see here the I am happy during assessment. So if you agree with this, you're just going to put a check. So the different class, remember, in rating scale, the thing that we are to write is a number, a particular rate or number from 1 to 5. There a description there, no interpretation. In Likert scale, we are just going to check strongly agree, disagree, or agree, not a number, no? So that is the difference. Now, the advantage of Likert scale is they are easy to understand, of course, and it is ideal for single topic surveys. For example, here the topic is about the attitude towards assessment of learning subject, and then Likert scale or questionnaires are versatile. They don't force specific response. Likert scale questions are great for sentiment analysis, they keep respondents happy all throughout the assessment. So that is the Likert scale. Now for the last activity, we have here the activity 4.3, the semantic differential scales. It is also a type of rating scale, so let us examine what makes semantic differential scales different from other scales that are mentioned and when they are best used. So first is, what do we mean by semantic differential scale? A semantic differential scale, ladies and gentlemen, is a rating scale used in survey or questionnaires that allows you to indicate or rate a concept between two opposite adjective on a scale. So we are not going to use strongly agree, disagree, or things like that, but we are to use two opposing adjectives. For example, here in the screen, now in the right corner, there are 5 adjectives. Positive adjective: engaging, beneficial, challenging, clear, enjoyable. And then left corner, insignificant, unengaging, detrimental, simple, ambiguous, and unpleasant. So opposing adjective. And then there are numbers: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 is the nearest to engaging, nearest to the positive, and 1 is the nearest to the negative. So you are going to encircle a particular number that you find most related. If you, for instance, for your own learning, for your own consumption, you fairly understand the topic, you could say 3. Or let's say if the question is the topic clear, in the number 4 is the topic clear. So if you understand that it's clear, then encircle 5. And then, is the topic challenging? If it's not that challenging, it's easier, basic, just simply encircle 1. Nearest to simple. So that is semantic differential scales. And the advantages of using semantic differential scales, ladies and gentlemen, are that they are valid and reliable, easy to understand, and accurately reflect respondents' subjective feelings. A researcher must decide which concept to study, which adjective to really use, or how many appropriate response or options are needed. And also, if there are advantage, there are also disadvantage. And one of the disadvantage in semantic differential scale is that they can be susceptible by response biases, such as extreme response or social desirability. It is a bit biased because the provided adjectives are limited. Let's say, what if the adjective that is somehow not totally covered in the topic is not provided? So how are you going to rate it, right? So that's a bit biased because they just focus on 5 provided adjective, opposing adjective. So that is why it's a bit biased. But overall, it's easy to understand. It is most likely ideal scale or assessment activity that is usually or commonly performed in, let's say, workshops, after workshops, activity lessons, and such things. So that is semantic differential scale. So those are the 4 different activities, assessment activities that is covered by this video. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask us, Macarimbor, Pandapatan, Gomosung, and Abdul. And we are not going to hesitate to answer your queries. At this juncture, thank you so much for listening, and I think that concludes this video presentation. Thank you.